I'm 1,000 pieces, still standing tall, a voice in the chaos. I've lived it all. I'm the wife, I'm a mother, a friend in the night, holding a broken, still holding the light. Shells in my pocket, dreams in my hands, building something they don't understand. The crafter of hope from shattered days, finding my strength in a million ways. They don't see the tears fall down in the shower. They don't know the pain behind the power. They only see me when I'm shining bright, not the battles I fight every night. But still I rise through the fire they made, through the hate, through the words they threw in my face. I'm still here, I'm still strong. This is where I belong. Mommy ramblings in my name. I built this boy full of pain. Every rebel that stayed by my side. You're the reason I survive. Still I rise, still I stand, with a broken heart and steady hand. They try to tear me down piece by piece, like I don't deserve a moment of peace. Was it just cause I didn't fit their mold? So they threw their stones and turned so cold. There are things I'll never say out loud, the kind of pain I don't need a crowd, but I carry it deep where the silence lives, and still find a way to give and give. And I smile when I go live like I'm okay, but they don't see the price I pay. Missing you with every breath I take, my sweet boy, my heart still breaks. But still I rose for the fire they made, through the hate, through the words they threw in my face. I'm still here, I'm still strong. This is where I belong. Mommy ramblings, this is me. Every left, still chasing dreams. Every rebel that never walked away. You're the light that got me through the grave. Still I rise, still out there, with your memory in my head. God, you carried me when I was weak, when I couldn't stand, you lifted me. More times than I could ever say. You made a way, you made a way. And I've got dreams that won't let go, a foundation built, some love I know. For my son, for the words he played, I'll turn my loss into something that remains. Yeah, I rise, now I'm stronger than before. Every scar just opened up a door. I'm still here, hear me now. I won't break, I won't bow. Mommy rambling, loud and clear. This is my voice, this is my year. Every rebel, every heart, you've been with me from the start. Still I rise, still I fight, turning darkness into light.
I'm still your mom, and I'll build something beautiful from all this pain.
Good afternoon. With that, I just swallowed my coffee and it went down the wrong side there. Excuse me. So we have a lot of tension. The case is in the in the jury's hands. The verdict is in the jury's hands, and you have no doubt where I stand on this. If you're new to the channel, you might not know where I stand on this. Right is right, wrong is wrong. It has nothing to do with skin color. Everybody, no, I shouldn't say everybody. Outside the courthouse, it seems a lot of people are focused on skin color. Hold on a second. And try to make it into things it's not. So I don't believe it's race has anything to do with this. I know it doesn't. Okay, Karmelo Anthony could be any other color. Austin Metcalf could be any color. Karmelo Anthony brought a knife when they are not permitted on the school grounds or to track meet. He didn't act in self-defense. There was no threat that he had to act on, that he had to stab Austin Metcalf and kill him. So, but juries are, you never know what way a jury is going to go. They're unpredictable, right? So, let me go over here for a second. Just want to make sure that my sound is working. And kill him. Yep. Okay. So let's go to someone that is in the courtroom, and that would be J.D. Miles on X. And so first let me do a quick refresh to make sure that we're not back with a verdict. Okay, and I want to talk about the closing arguments here. So coming from J.D. Miles, he says the scene outside the Collin County Courthouse this morning. Now, I saw other instances of the Collin County Courthouse. I saw a lot of people for justice for Karmelo. I saw only one woman with a sign, one woman, that said justice for Austin. Here we say justice for Austin Metcalf. I say it as the host of this channel, justice for Austin Metcalf. He is the one who lost his life senselessly in his twin brother's arms. That family, the devastating loss that will be with them forever. And that's what we need to remember. It's justice for Austin Metcalf. And that's why his picture is up there. Okay. So, let me go to the closing arguments and the summarization of them. Okay, closing arguments were 35 minutes each, and the prosecutor, Bill Werski, waived his right to open, so the lead defense attorney, Mike Howard, started. And this is what J.D. Miles quoted him as saying. Austin Metcalf had no legal right to use force to eject Karmelo Anthony from that tent. He had no legal right to put his hands on Karmelo. Karmelo is in a public place. This is, okay, that is just like so crazy, right? Coming from the defense, he didn't have a right to nudge him by the shoulders out of the tent, but Karmelo's reaction is to stab Austin in the heart, killing him. Please, go take a seat. Seriously, I know what their job is, but this is pathetic. We ask you this incredible tough task, which is to follow the law. The government wants to make this case about Mello. And then, please, you're not doing yourself any favors. Mello. What is that supposed to make him more likable? Or says his nickname, is that like Paw Paw in Murdoch case? Yellow Mello. Mellow Yellow. Come on. Mello could have just left. So the government wants to make this play. No, that's what he should have done. You heard that a track event is a social event. Certainly it is. You don't go sit under another team's tent. It was completely common for kids to be milling about, going by, saying hi, and stopping into the tent. No, it's not. No, it's not. How many have you been to? No, it's not. You don't go sit in another team's dugout. You don't go sit under another team's tent. Going around saying hi to other runners is one thing. You're going in and sitting in their tent? We know that it was raining. I don't know why we had to have this argument about whether it was raining. We know how Texas weather is. So it's easy to think, boy, I better get out of this rain. Okay. Boy, I better get out of this rain. I'm going to go in the other team's tent. He says a witness testified, we have no problem with him under the tent while it was raining. You have to put yourself in Karmelo's shoes. So you start under the tent. You want to get out of the rain. Sure enough, one of the people at Memorial says, yeah, come on over. Then all of the sudden, Hunter Metcalf or Austin, yeah, you don't even know which one it is, right? Yeah, that's how great your facts are here. Says, who are you? You need to leave. These guys are much bigger than you. Do you turn your back and walk away? Yeah. And take a chance that these teenage boys with their raging horn, what raging horn? Oh my gosh. You talk about painting somebody unfairly and unjustly, right? Mello had an absolute right to defend himself against that. Against what? Against what specifically, Mr. Defense Attorney? Someone asking them to leave a tent that he doesn't belong under? He had an absolute right to stick a knife and plunge it in Austin's chest and kill him? Take a seat. How do you know in a split second of chaos when it's too late? You don't bring, here's the thing, you don't bring a knife to a track meet. You don't bring a knife even to, if it was going to be a fist fight, okay? He's wrong, Mr. Defense Attorney. Your client is wrong. Because if you wait too late to defend yourself, self-defense is meaningless. Yeah, and if you just go and bring a weapon to a track meet and then act totally crazed with hormones raging and plunge the knife into somebody that merely asked you to leave their tent and kill them? Take a seat, Mr. Defense Attorney. Okay. So crazy. So crazy. Now, the other thing I want to tell you is that before they went to the closing statements, the defense objected to the jury charge before closing arguments. They're citing provoking the difficulty instruction under the penal code, and that's related to the self-defense argument and provocation. And prosecutors argued against the defense's objection, saying that a rational jury can find there was provocation, the lack of defensive wounds, defendant's comments, and a folding knife that was open. Judge overruled defense's objection and another objection that the jury charge will not include criminally negligent homicide as a possible lesser offense. The jury will be allowed to consider manslaughter in Karmelo Anthony murder trial as well as murder. Okay, so there's their closing. Let's see here. Okay, we got to keep going. We heard a lot of differing accounts from the kids who were under that tent. I know it's obvious, but let me just say it. Every single one was a Memorial kid. Yeah, because it was their tent. We should be on guard. That's kind of disproves that your theory that, boy, Karmelo Anthony was the only one that had to get out of the rain. Poor kid. Didn't want to get his hair wet. Is that what, Mr. Defense Attorney? Didn't want to get his hair wet, and he went under there, the only one? Boy, that's not helping your case. I know it's obvious, but let me say it. Every single one was a Memorial kid. We should be on guard for having bias because, of course, they would. Austin was their leader. Now, how about right is right, wrong is wrong? So we heard a very jumbled account of what really happened in that tent. I don't think we did. It was a shove. It was a hit. It was a lineman drill on Anthony leaving the scene, not exactly escaping like the guilty do. Mello, oh please, had every opportunity to go right out that exit. Oh, what a great guy he is, right? He had every opportunity to get out of that tent, too, before he did anything. Sorry, guys, this guy in everything I have seen, and I have covered this case from when it started, okay? He is as guilty as the day is long. For so many reasons. He shouldn't have had a weapon. He shouldn't have used a weapon. He shouldn't have been under that tent. Please. And it doesn't matter what his skin color is. Okay. We heard about Melo's emotions. Oh, yes, his emotions, his fifis. Every single person who saw him down on that track said he was crying. What did he say? Melo said he's not going to die. It's clear he thought he stabbed him in a place that he was not going to die. Okay, it's clear he thought, whenever you use a weapon, you cannot guarantee where you stab someone, they're going to die. So it's okay if he stabs someone because it's in a place where he wasn't supposed to die, in his heart? Yeah, okay. Okay, then we should just let him off the hook because he just meant to stab him somewhere where he wouldn't die. Austin reportedly said to Karmelo, according to a witness, if you don't move, I'll beat your ass. Really? Where was that said? Where was that said? Did you bring that to the court? Because I didn't see that in any of the testimony. But you know what? Even if he did, okay, he's threatening what? The use of his hands? The use of his hands? Did he beat his ass? Karmelo seems pretty fine, doesn't he? As much as we may not like it, even a 17-year-old kid can legally have a 5.5-inch knife, even in a high school stadium. Get out of here! You cannot bring a weapon. There was even signs there. Yes, it's a violation of policy, but it's not a crime. Oh my gosh. Violation of policy is a school crime. Is a school crime. Is it not? You can't have a weapon. You're going to get suspended. This guy is ridiculous. Texas law does not require that you wait until you get hit. So ask yourself, has the government ruled out reasonable doubt when you put yourself in Melo's shoes under the tent? Yeah. Oh boy. You didn't hear the words motive in the jury charge, but you can make reasonable deductions as to how that applies to intent. Karmelo has no motive other than he absolutely felt like he was in danger. Get out of here. He could have cut and run. Stop it. And I don't mean cut with a knife. He could have cut all ties with it and run. Stop it. He had his hand in that bag. He had intent. Why was he bringing the knife there? Why was he under that tent? The evidence is very clear. These kids didn't know each other. This case is not about race as much as people want to make it about that. That we agree on. There's no evidence that Karmelo did anything but really thinking he was defending himself. Yeah, okay. That we don't agree on. In the split second of chaos, he says the way the knife entered shows that it wasn't intentional. Oh, the way it entered shows it was not intentional? He said Karmelo's hand was underneath the knife, not on top of it. What? Who plunged it into Austin's chest? I'm sorry. This is crazy. On the credibility of the memorial students who testified, I understand where they're coming from. They lost their brother. Oh yeah, so you're calling them liars that would just lie under oath, right? Because okay. On why Karmelo didn't walk away. If you turn your back on him, who knows what happens? Well, Austin didn't have to turn his back on him. He got stabbed right in his front. We have this chorus of people, but it's too late to turn your back. What's going to happen? I don't know. We know what happened, Mr. Defense Attorney. Your client killed Austin Metcalf. On Karmelo keeping his hand in the bag, you don't have something in the bag. I do have something in that bag. On the touch me and find out comment from Karmelo, that is the ultimate warning. It is the ultimate back off. No, it's a threat is what it is. It's a threat. Don't call it a warning. It's a threat. Okay, now let's go to the prosecution's closing argument. On Karmelo's touch me comment, do not let them turn a threat into a warning. Yes. You heard the testimony. You know it was a threat. It wasn't a warning. On the defense's testimony that Austin could have stabbed himself, that's ludicrous. I agree. What should be important is mindset. He took a knife to a track meet. He was going to come out on top of any hostile encounter. Exactly. That's mindset. Exactly. This is one of those rare cases where every important fact can be boiled down to one sentence. You do not get to meet a shove with a stab, especially if you provoke the shove. It's crystal clear. The facts are simple. They said he was confused because the twins were coming at him again, trying to turn the threat into a warning. There was no fuse on this thing. They went from 0 to 100 like that. Thank goodness we have video. The video tells the story. Why did he just not walk away? You see he had a choice to walk away and abandon the encounter. Yeah, well, I guess the defense wants you to think he didn't want to get his hair wet. Okay, maybe he didn't want to get his hair wet. Unbelievable. On whether manslaughter would apply in this case instead of murder, if you think Austin Metcalf impaled himself on Karmelo Anthony knife, find him guilty of manslaughter. On witnesses, they all say Karmelo Anthony provoked it. Why self-defense doesn't apply? You can meet deadly force with deadly force in Texas, but you can't meet force, a shove, with deadly force, a stab. Size differential. It doesn't work in this case. You don't get to kill somebody because they're bigger than you. Self-defense has to be a reasonable belief. A reasonable belief means a belief that would be held by an ordinary and prudent person in the same situation as the defendant. It has to be immediately necessary, where the immediate necessity to plunge a knife into an unarmed young man. Where was that? Where was that immediate necessity? Karmelo, Mellow Yellow, Mellow, whatever the heck they're calling you. Okay? Where was your immediate necessity to plunge a knife into Austin Metcalf? There wasn't one. It's not self-defense, folks. It's murder. Murder, plain and simple. No one standing up. No one is surrounding Karmelo Anthony. The Memorial kids hadn't turned on him. You know, that's another thing. If he was so ganged up on, how did he just walk out of there? If he was so ganged up on, wouldn't they have been furious that he stabbed Austin? Wouldn't they have, if they were ganging up on him, wouldn't that have been the time to really go after this SOB who just plunged a knife in their friend? But they didn't. He was sitting alone over there on the track, right? When the officer met up with him. He wasn't surrounded by a bunch of kids who they say Austin was their leader. And right, this defense is trying to paint this. They'll do anything for him, that they were going to tear him limb from limb. No, they were caring about their teammate. They weren't going after Karmelo. Karmelo was never in any danger like that. It's all a freaking lie. If they all had raging hormones and they were all posturing up against Karmelo, right? Yeah, come on. He's just going to walk out of there? He's just going to walk out? No one's standing up. No one's surrounding Karmelo Anthony. The Memorial kids hadn't turned on him. The video was so important. You can see with your own eyes how normal that day was. At some point, when he reached into the bag, he opened it and had it ready to go. Did Austin Metcalf have defensive wounds? No. Why? He never saw it coming. If this case was really about a young man trying to stay out of the rain, get under the bleachers. On why he ran for an exit instead of a coach. It's a guilty mindset. He touched me. He did this. He did that. What would he have said if he was really confronted by both of the twins? His words alone belie the fact that this was one-on-one. This was not a mob of Memorial kids. That's so important. Yeah. Where's his first words? He's talking about a one-on-one encounter. Reciting a witness who testified about Karmelo's behavior, he had it in his mind what he was going to do. Exactly. I'm not going to fight you, Austin says multiple times. Yeah, why would he be afraid of Austin when Austin says, I'm not going to fight you? It wasn't a hard push. It was a small shove. Karmelo Anthony was trying to prove that he could do a violent act. Well, sure, he sure did, folks. He sure did. All told, you the exact same thing. It's not self-defense. Austin did not want to fight. It's a tragedy for everyone involved, and there's a lot of truth in that outside the courtroom. It's not a tragedy for Karmelo Anthony. It's a tragedy because of the decisions that he made. It is senseless that Austin Metcalf lost his life on a Wednesday morning at a high school track meet. We don't take weapons to school events, but Karmelo Anthony did. Ultimately, this case is about accountability. What kind of community do you want to live in? You represent the community today, and as unpleasant as it may be, it's your duty to follow your oath and hold this young man accountable for the senseless murder. I beg you to make justice swift in this case. Now, the judge gave the instructions to alternate jurors, and they went to deliberate. Let's see how I'm going to go over it. I'm just going to check if there happens to be a verdict. Let's see. I don't see one yet, so we're going to go over to look at some of the jury instructions here. Okay, so just want to go a little bit here. Okay. Members of the jury, Karmelo Sincere, oh boy, Anthony, I sincerely tried to murder him, that's for sure. His intentions were sincere. Hi, everybody that's getting here. I'm sorry. Murder of Crows. I'm sorry. I'm very charged up about this case. This case is black and white to me. This Karmelo Anthony is bad news. Everything that's gone on from this case is bad news. The racial tensions and everything that is happening outside that courthouse is bad news. That it's been turned into a race thing is bad news. And I don't see it ending well at all. And it should not be a race thing. It's not. It's a right and wrong thing. Again, whatever the races of them. But now, if you look outside that courthouse and you see what is happening out there, it is pandemonium. So it's really very unfortunate, very unfortunate. Karmelo Sincere Anthony, the defendant, stands charged by the indictment with the offense of murder, alleged to have committed on or about April 2nd, 2025 in Collin County, Texas. To this charge, the defendant has pled not guilty. The law requires that I submit the following instructions to you. Okay, presumptions and burden of proof. All persons are presumed to be innocent, and no person may be convicted of an offense unless each element of the offense is proved beyond a reasonable doubt. The law does not require the defendant to prove his innocence or produce any evidence at all. The presumption of innocence alone is sufficient to acquit the defendant unless you are satisfied beyond a reasonable doubt of the defendant's guilt after careful and impartial consideration of all the evidence in this case. The burden of proof in all criminal cases rests upon the state throughout the trial, and it never shifts to the defendant. The prosecution has the burden of proving the defendant guilty, and it must do so by proving each and every element of the offense charged beyond a reasonable doubt. If the state fails to meet its burden, you must acquit the defendant. It is not required that the prosecution prove guilt beyond all possible doubt. It is required the prosecution's proof excludes all reasonable doubt concerning the defendant's guilt. Hang on a moment. Let me get the other page here for you guys. And yeah, it's I'm keep checking to see if they have the verdict. Let's see here. Okay. Terms and definitions here. Bodily injury means physical pain, illness, or impairment of physical condition. Deadly weapon means anything that in the manner of its use or intended use is capable of causing death or serious bodily injury. Individual means a human being who is alive. Serious bodily injury means bodily injury that creates a substantial risk of death or that causes death. Serious permanent disfigurement or protracted loss or impairment of the function of any bodily member or organ. Offense definitions: a person commits murder if he intentionally or knowingly causes the death of an individual. A person also commits murder if he intends to cause serious bodily injury and commits an act clearly dangerous to human life that causes the death of an individual. So say you say, okay, well, what, I don't know if he intentionally wanted Austin to die. So does that mean he's no? Because look under there. A person also commits murder. He knows plunging that knife into Austin's chest is going to cause serious bodily injury, right? And you do it anyway. And the person dies, yeah, then you can be guilty of committing murder. A person commits manslaughter if he recklessly causes the death of an individual. Now, are some people going to think Karmelo recklessly caused the death of an individual? Well, he had intent, and you don't meet a shove with a stab. But who knows what the jury's going to do there, right? Mental state definitions: a person acts intentionally or with intent with respect to the result of his conduct when it is conscious, objective, or desire to cause the result. A person acts knowingly or with knowledge with respect to a result of his conduct when he is aware that his conduct is reasonably certain to cause the result. Hold on one little second. What the heck just happened? Hold on a minute, guys. I closed my window. Hang on, I'm just getting back to where I was so I can pull up these. Hang on one sec. Where the heck is... Hold on, let me see. All right. So the jury's been deliberating for 2 hours, it looks like. All right, let's get to the rest of this. Now we did the deadly force. Let me see here. Let me get over here. Now, bearing in mind the foregoing instructions, if you find from the evidence beyond a reasonable doubt that on or about April 2nd of 2025 in Collin County, Texas, the defendant, Karmelo Anthony, did intentionally or knowingly cause the death of an individual, namely Austin Metcalf, by stabbing Austin Metcalf with a knife, a deadly weapon, or with intent to cause serious bodily injury to Austin Metcalf, an individual did commit an act clearly dangerous to human life by stabbing Austin Metcalf with a knife, a deadly weapon that caused the death of Austin Metcalf, then you will find the defendant committed murder as charged in the indictment. If you do not so believe, or if you have a reasonable doubt thereof, you will next consider whether he committed the lesser included offense of manslaughter. Okay, so he committed murder. But let's go and read these jury instructions. If I was on the jury, I would be convinced he committed murder. And we didn't even get to see a lot of this stuff, right? But, okay, so now it says mental state definition as to manslaughter. A person acts recklessly, or it's reckless with respect to the result of his conduct when he is aware but consciously disregards a substantial and unjustifiable risk that the result will occur. The risk may be of such a nature and degree that its disregard constitutes a gross deviation from the standard of care that an ordinary person would exercise under all circumstances as viewed from the actor's standpoint. Now, bearing in mind the foregoing instructions, if you find that the evidence beyond a reasonable doubt that on or about April 2nd, 2025 in Collin County, Texas, the defendant, Karmelo Anthony, did recklessly cause the death of an individual, namely Austin Metcalf, by stabbing Austin Metcalf with a knife, a deadly weapon, then you will find the defendant committed manslaughter as included in the indictment. If you do not so believe, or if you have any reasonable doubt thereof, you will acquit the defendant and say, by your verdict, not guilty. So if you find the evidence beyond a reasonable doubt that on or about April 2nd, 2025, he recklessly caused the death of an individual. Let's see now, hang on. And I'm going to get the next page here. Okay, self-defense, deadly force. If you feel the defendant committed murder or manslaughter beyond a reasonable doubt, you will next consider whether he acted in self-defense. You're instructed that a person is justified in using force against another when and to the degree he reasonably believes the force is immediately necessary to protect himself against the other's use or attempted use of unlawful force. Was Austin Metcalf using any unlawful force? I don't think so. The use of force against another is not justified in response to verbal provocation alone, or if the actor provoked the other's use or attempted use of unlawful force, unless the actor abandons the encounter or clearly communicates to the other his intent to do so reasonably, believing he cannot safely abandon the encounter, and the other nevertheless continues or attempts to use unlawful force against the actor. I don't think any of that occurred. A person is justified in using deadly force against another if the person would be justified in using force against the other, and when, to the degree the person reasonably believes the deadly force is immediately necessary to protect himself against the other's use or attempted use of unlawful deadly force. What unlawful deadly force did Austin Metcalf have? A shove. A person who has a right to be present at the location where the deadly force is used, who has not provoked the person against whom the deadly force is used, and who is not engaged in criminal activity at the time the deadly force is used, is not required to retreat before using deadly force. And the finder of fact, when determining whether the actor reasonably believed that the use of deadly force was necessary, may not consider whether the actor failed to retreat. Where there is more than one assailant, the defendant has the right to act upon the hostile demonstration of either one or all of them and to assault either one. Hang on. Okay. Let's make sure this is the right page. Yes, 5. Okay, either one of them, if it is reasonable, appears to him that they are present for the purpose of acting together to take his life or to do him serious bodily injury. Where was anybody doing that to Karmelo Mello Sincere Anthony? Reasonable belief means a belief that would be held by an ordinary person and prudent person in the same circumstances as the defendant. Deadly force means force that is intended or known by the person using it to cause, or in the manner of its use or intended use, incapable of causing death or serious bodily injury. You are further instructed that it is your duty to consider all relevant facts and circumstances surrounding the alleged killing and the previous relationship existing between the accused and the deceased, if any, together with all relevant facts and circumstances going to show the condition of the mind of the accused at the time of the alleged offense. Now, therefore, bearing in mind the foregoing definitions and instructions, if you believe from the evidence beyond a reasonable doubt that the defendant in Collin County, Texas, on or about April 2nd, 2025, did commit murder or manslaughter, but you further find from the evidence or have a reasonable doubt thereof that the defendant reasonably believed that deadly force, when and to the degree used, if it was immediately necessary to protect himself against the use or attempted use of unlawful deadly force by Austin Metcalf or others with him, you will acquit the defendant and say by your verdict, not guilty. Okay, so even if you believe he committed murder or manslaughter, if you believe it was self-defense, you are to say not guilty. You are further instructed, however, that if you believe from the evidence beyond a reasonable doubt that at the time and place in question, Austin Metcalf or others with him were not using or attempting to use unlawful deadly force on the defendant, or that the defendant did not reasonably believe that the use of deadly force was immediately necessary, then you will find against the defendant on his plea of self-defense. In deciding whether the state has proved that this defendant did not reasonably believe his use of deadly force was necessary, you must not consider any failure of the defendant to retreat that might be shown by the evidence if you find both the defendant did not provoke Austin Metcalf, the person against whom the defendant used deadly force, and the defendant was not engaged in criminal activity at the time he used deadly force. If you do not find both 1 and 2, you may consider any failure of the defendant to retreat that might be shown by, hang on, come on. that might be shown by the evidence in deciding whether the defendant reasonably believed that the use of deadly force was necessary. If you find and believe from the evidence beyond a reasonable doubt that the defendant immediately before the difficulty did some act, use some language, or both with the intent to produce the occasion to bring on the difficulty and kill Austin Metcalf, and that such conduct was reasonably calculated to and did provoke a difficulty, and that in response to the provocation, Austin Metcalf attacked the defendant or reasonably appeared to attack him or to be about to attack him, and that the defendant then killed Austin Metcalf in pursuance of his original design. If you find that there was such a produced necessity for taking the life of Austin Metcalf, you will find against the defendant's claim of self-defense. At times throughout the trial, the court has been called upon to pass on questions of whether or not certain offered evidence might properly be admitted. You are not to be concerned with the reasons for such rulings and are not to draw any inferences from them. Whether offered evidence is admissible is purely a question of law. In admitting evidence to which an objection is made, the court neither determines what weight should be given such evidence nor passes on the credibility of the witness as to any offer of evidence that has been rejected by the court. You, of course, must not consider the same as to any question to which an objection was sustained. You must not conjecture as to what the answer might have been or as to the reason for the objection. The fact that the defendant has been arrested, confined, or indicted for or otherwise charged with the offense gives rise to no inference of guilt at his trial. You are instructed that you may consider all relevant facts and circumstances surrounding the killing and the previous relationship existing between the accused and the deceased, if any, together with all relevant facts and circumstances going to show the condition of the mind of the accused at the time of the offense alleged in this indictment. You are instructed that the defendant may testify in his own behalf if he chooses to do so, but if he elects not to do so, the fact cannot be taken by you as a circumstance against him or prejudice him in any way. The defendant has elected not to testify, and you are instructed that you cannot and must not refer to or allude to that fact throughout your deliberations or take it into consideration for any purpose whatsoever. So they can't hold that against him, right? Or say he's guilty because he didn't do that, or if he was innocent, he would have defended himself. They can't do anything like that. Okay, concluding instructions. You are charged that it is only from the witness stand that the jury is permitted to receive evidence regarding this case, and no juror is permitted to communicate to any other juror anything he may have heard regarding this case from any source other than the witness stand. In deliberating on this case, you are not to refer to or discuss any matter or issue not in evidence before you. Further, you should not talk about this case to anyone not of your jury. You are the exclusive judges of the facts provided, of the credibility of the witnesses, and of the weight to be given to the testimony, but you are bound to receive and to follow the law from the court. After you have retired to consider your verdict, no one has any authority to communicate with you except the bailiff, who has you in their charge. You may communicate with the court in writing, signed by your foreperson, through the bailiff, who has you in their charge. Do not attempt to talk to the bailiff. Hold on 1 second. Do not attempt to talk to the bailiff who has you in their the attorneys or the court concerning any question you may have. After argument of counsel, you will retire and select one of your members to be your foreperson. It is the duty of your foreperson to preside at your deliberations and to vote with you in arriving at a verdict. Your verdict must be unanimous. And after you have arrived at your verdict, you may use one of the forms attached by having your foreperson sign the particular form that conforms to your verdict. The Honorable Judge R. Roach, Jr., presiding judge, 296th Judicial District Court, Collin County, Texas. And that is that. Okay, and let's see if there is any news of a verdict here. Where is my Twitter pages? Twitter pages, Twitter pages. Okay. Let's see. So it's 2 hours they are deliberating. Okay, and let me see what someone said, I think he'll get manslaughter. He needs to pay for his actions. It doesn't sound like he went to murder at the track meet. Sounds like he made a bad decision, one he could have walked away from, but see, or could have handled with his fists, but chose differently. My heart aches for both kids. What happens after they reach their verdict? Let's see. Someone said they would murder. One, he intended to cause serious bodily injury by pulling a knife and using it. Self-defense. The use of force is not justified if he provoked the victim. Touch me and see what happens. 2, he abandoned the encounter, walked away, and the attack was self-defense. Hold on a minute. Let's see what someone's saying here. Self-defense would and then attacked. The self-defense would apply. He committed murder. He had an option to leave. He provoked the situation. There is no self-defense according to the law. I feel the same way. But I think maybe the jury's going to give him manslaughter. I don't know. If the jury returns a guilty verdict, does the case immediately move to sentencing? No, it doesn't usually immediately move. They usually have a sentencing date because they have victims' impact statements, yada, yada, yada. Okay. Someone said, this is just my opinion. Karmelo Anthony committed murder. He should serve decades in prison. There's probably no way that out of 12 white jurors, that's not at least one social justice warrior with white guilt. This is somebody saying this. Anthony will be convicted of manslaughter in order to minimize the rioting. That's what somebody says. I think that might happen. I'm not. Let's see. He has not taken any responsibility for his actions, not shown any remorse. In fact, he and his family have doubled down on their victims' angle, arguably even profiting all of it, while encouraging and further participating in the further attacks against the family. He does not deserve even the consideration of manslaughter on this, and his family will continue to profit because the grift is in full swing, despite the indisputable facts as shown at the hearing. My prayers are with the jury today to give them strength to look at this arrogant young man and judge him on his actions, while not for a second forgetting the young man with a bright future who had his life stolen from him. Let's see. Someone said, Mello sincerely murdered Austin. He baited, waited, and struck Austin as hard as he could, killed him almost instantly. Person commits murder if he intentionally or knowingly causes the death of an individual. A person also commits murder if he intends to cause serious bodily injury and commits an act clearly dangerous to human life that causes the death of an individual. It's murder by. That's how I feel. He is clearly guilty. Only question now is the sentence. It should be life in prison. Someone said, okay, if convicted of murder, he'll get 15 plus years, but will not get life. Someone said, based on the evidence in these instructions alone, murder is the only actual finding here. About as clear as it gets. And let's see. Karmelo admitted he killed Austin. He didn't just barely stab him. He used force. It penetrated Austin's heart wall. Austin was not armed. This is not self-defense. This is murder. Well, the thing that tells me, if he's so felt for his life, and then they start saying that he was ganged up on or whatever. Really? And he was able just to walk out like that after stabbing him and not one person went running after him? Come on, give me a break. Sit down. Okay. It was obvious premeditated murder. Someone said the dude packed a knife, took it to a track meet, and then murdered a child. His middle name is Sincere. Yeah, I'd say, okay, I'm not going to get there. M-U-R-D-E-R, murder. Okay, and that's what I think as well. Let me go into the chat and see what you guys are saying. Okay, hang on here. Okay, so I would call him Crappy Karmelo. Yes, high speed, it's horrific. We have to make a stand now. What's going on here? The world has gone mad, pandering to groups of people who shout the loudest and stamp their feet. Hello, Linda. Hello, Slam RN. Hello, Denise. Went through the sternum, and that takes some effort, right? Right, Slam? This was not a little superficial thing, right, just to get away. No, it wasn't. He wasn't in any danger. He knew what he was doing. And it's just crazy. Hello, Barbara. Life is so precious, and a precious life has been lost, and family forevermore will never be the same. Hi, Carly. Absolutely, 100%. Thank you. God, you are saying it. You're on fire lately. You could be a great attorney or detective. Thank you, High Speed. It's just I'm very passionate about this. I followed this case since the beginning. These boys, these twin boys, are my boys' ages. They're right in the middle there, right? So then you have the fact that they're twins, and you see this pain, and I know how close brothers can be, and these boys were closer than close, and his twin brother was, crying out and saying, this is my brother, this is my best friend, we need to get help, hurry, 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 and his brother died in his arms, something he will never forget, never, and his whole life, in a second, has been changed, okay? And his parents' whole lives have been changed in a second. And why? Why? Because of the actions of Karmelo Anthony. So, yes, I'm very, you might say on fire. It's very, I'm very passionate about this case because it's just so horrific, so senseless. Kids should be at a track meet, okay? And when this happened last year, Ethan was competing in these track meets. Luke was as well. And you see the camaraderie in their teams. It should have been a wonderful day for their teams. It should not come to the point that somebody is going to sit under your tent. They have a knife. Touch me and see what happens. No. And split second, he destroys a whole life. And what I see outside that courthouse is all these people chanting and carrying on and putting signs up and saying something like, don't put your hands on me, it's self-defense. Do these people even know the facts of the case? Are they supporting Karmelo Anthony just because of the color of his skin? Because what kind of justice is that? What kind of world are we living in that you're just supporting someone because of the color of their skin? As I said, it wouldn't matter if this was another white boy, if it was an Asian boy, if they were reversed, if Austin was black, Karmelo was white. What's right is right. What's wrong is wrong. And why is our world just trying to do? I mean, you heard one of the jurors said, I don't think I could send a brother to jail, to prison. What? This is what I mean. And I am very afraid for what is going to happen when a verdict comes down, because it is, like I said, from what I saw, there was only one woman, one, holding a sign that said justice for Austin that I saw. But there were people putting in these signs professionally made and on banging them into the ground, these having their kids stand beside them for Karmelo Anthony. Come on now. Come on now. So I don't know what's going to happen. I really don't. I don't know how much the jurors know about what's happening outside. I hope one of the jurors, or that the jurors are not just going to say, look, let's just do manslaughter so we don't have a, riot. That should never be the case, ever, if they really do believe it's murder, which it is, if you look at the facts of the case. And we weren't even in that courtroom. And from what we see, we can see that. Okay? Again, he was able to walk out of there after he stabbed Austin. And then he was on the track. There was nobody running after him, beating the crap out of him. So lose the whole ganging up thing, okay? Please. Austin said how many times, I don't want to fight you. I don't want to fight you. How are you going? You going to work? Yeah. All right, I love you. Be careful. So, beautiful boy, gone. A mother, father, brother, family. Never know his full potential in this world. Gone. Gone why? Gone just because somebody doesn't like being told to get out of the tent. Let's go see a Boston Red Sox player go sit in the Yankee dugout. You think that's going to be okay because it's raining? You think that's okay? It's not. It's not okay. Track mates are social? Yeah, that's true. That's true. But you don't go sit under another team's tent. And if you do and they ask you to leave, well, then you should abide by that. Okay? This is just ridiculous. Let me see if they've got a verdict. I can't even believe that it's taking them this long. That's scaring me. That's making me think some of them are going for manslaughter. Let me see if there's a verdict. Hold on a second. Okay, let's see. Karmelo Anthony. Manslaughter is now on the table. Remember, Karmelo Anthony has been charged with murder. Okay. Jury's currently deliberating. Let's see. School rule versus state law. What Officer Riley's testimony really means. He's charged with murder, not a knife. Hit, shove, push is unlawful. Okay, these people are really going crazy. SWAT team is at the courthouse. Oh, yeah. I think it's going to be absolute mayhem. Jury is taking way too long, someone said. It's looking better for Karmelo. We are over an hour into, we're 2 hours now into deliberations. It doesn't take that long to convict of murder in this case. You know what it means. He's not going to get convicted of murder. Okay. Yeah, here's some. Let me show you some stuff that's out in front of the courthouse. This craziness, okay? This craziness. Hands off, okay? We stand with you. Karmelo Anthony putting out his football picture, this and that. Hands off. Someone said, how anyone that's paid any attention can still stand with him is beyond me. I hope this young man turns his life around and is a model prisoner and gets out of prison a long time from now and has a successful life after, but he killed another human on purpose. I believe he went to that tent to provoke a fight. It ended with a dead teenager. Okay. And then they've got signs against Austin Metcalf out there. It's disgusting. It's absolutely disgusting. I don't think I could, I think it would be dangerous for me to be out there. It really would. I don't think I could do it. Not with the emotions I have. Austin Metcalf was not a bouncer, was not a coach, had no authority to physically remove Karmelo. Was not an officer, was not security, okay? So, to physically remove, he gave him what I believe is what they said, that he kind of put his hands on his shoulders and moved him towards the exit of the tent. He didn't fall. He didn't get a shove where he cracked his head on the bleachers or anything like that. And you've got this stuff going on out there. They're posting signs like this out there. It says nothing on that list is relevant. You don't get to stab and kill another student for pushing you. Bottom line. It's unbelievable. Anthony was reportedly suspended from Frisco Centennial High School prior to April 2025 meat stabbing for bringing a knife onto campus. This has been referenced in news coverage, social media, and commentary as background. Oh, let's see. Someone said the prosecution in the Karmelo Anthony trial is led by the guy who put Eric Williams behind bars for life. Eric Williams is the one who killed the Kaufman County DA, his wife, and an assistant DA, and has a full list of others he was after. Bill Werski isn't one to mess with. Austin Metcalf's family is hopeful that justice will be served. See what this is. Family raises $625K, then asks for a public defender. This is why people stop believing. Is that what he had? I thought his mother hired a public defender. Oh, I thought all that money was for his defense. Is that true? Let me fact check that. No, here it says, hold on, that doesn't look right. It says Karmelo Anthony, the teenager charged in the 2025 fatal stabbing, is represented by retained private counsel. See, that's false then. His family hired experienced Dallas-based criminal defense attorney Mike Howard. That's who gave the closing statement, so that's not true. He doesn't have a public defender. Okay, the verdict has not yet been reached. The 12-person jury is currently deliberating whether to convict Karmelo Anthony of first-degree murder or the lesser included charge of manslaughter, or to acquit him. Let's see here. Let me see what we can see out there. Let me go on the come on. Okay, let's see what we got here. We have where's Margaret? Let's see. So many people just making this. Okay. Latest. Getting loud outside the Collin County Courthouse as a verdict has been reached. That's what it's saying. Verdict is in, guys. The verdict is in.
Karmelo! Say his name! Karmelo! Say his name! Karmelo! What do we want? Justice! When do we want it? Now! Say his name! Karmelo!
Oh my gosh, they're saying, Karmelo, say his name. What do we want? Justice. What do we want now? We want justice too. The verdict is in. Okay, this is so crazy that we have to look at it through Twitter, right? But yeah, you've got those people out there. You hear that if they get a verdict of a murder, what do you think is going to happen out there? What do you think is going to happen out there?
Say his name! Karmelo! 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 Say his name! Karmelo!
My gosh. Oh my gosh. Verdict is going to be read at 2:05 Central Time, which is going to be 10 minutes. Oh boy, this is crazy. The verdict is in, guys. The verdict is in, and it's getting crazy out there. The jury has reached their verdict. It will be read at 2:05. Of course, we won't hear it. We have to hear it, through the tweets of someone that's there. What do you guys think? What do you guys think? Put in the chat what you think it's going to be. Is it going to be murder? Is it going to be manslaughter? Or is it going to be he's acquitted because they think it was self-defense? What do you think? I know that for me it would be murder. I know that that's the only choice that makes sense. I believe, though, they may just settle on manslaughter for some reason. And it's not the right reasons. But let me see what you guys are saying. Hold on, I'm going to come and see what you're saying. I'm just trying to get Austin's picture up there. Okay, let me see here what we got. You don't like that the Black Panthers are standing in front of the courthouse with guns. It seems to intimidate the jurors. Their names come out after the trial, I think. Why carry a knife if you have no intent to use it? On what planet is it okay to stand in front of the courthouse with guns? I wonder if he planned the whole thing. There's only 6 white jurors. The others are other races. There's no black jurors on the jury. Let's see. My hunch is that Karmelo wanted to establish a reputation as a tough guy. I didn't realize. I don't know about that. He went to start trouble. I don't know about that. Speed. Went through the sternum. Takes some effort. Let's see. Hi, Anne. Karmelo Anthony brought and escalated violence. Yes. And I don't care what color he is either. This case is, it should not be color. But they're making it about race. And they want Karmelo not to be convicted based on race. Not based on right and wrong. Let's see, professional chaos creators, they still shouldn't decide a verdict because of loudmouth idiots. I agree, Anne. They should not, but it's, oh my gosh. I wish they, 5 minutes? 5 minutes, guys. 5 minutes for a verdict. 5 minutes. Okay, blaming the victim is at an all-time low, like asking what our victim was wearing or led the man on, or any senseless act of cruelty. It also tells me the defense attorney knows his case is shot. Right, blaming Austin Metcalf, right? Yeah, that's... Oh, I pray to God that, God, please, 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 let your will be done for justice for Austin Metcalf. Amen. Someone said prepare for riots. The jury reaches a verdict less than 3 hours after deliberation. Let's see.
Justice! Where do we want it? Now! What do we want? Justice!
Yeah, we want justice. We do. Three minutes. Hang on 1 second. Hold on, I'm right here. I'm just trying to get something on another device as well, so I can watch like as many things as I can to see about this verdict. Okay, there is craziness going on. We have 2 minutes. Come on. A verdict has been reached. Come on. Okay, J.D. Miles said he's headed into the courtroom and will reveal the verdict as soon as it's announced. As soon as it's, I'm going to keep it here on this reporter, J.D. Miles, on X. I'm going to keep refreshing. We are 1 minute away. 1 minute away, and this judge is very punctual. I heard that the prosecution got yelled at for coming back 2 minutes late from a break. It looks like it's so unbalanced outside that courthouse. I'm going to keep refreshing. Okay, we're at 3:05. Let me keep refreshing. Tense scene. 11 seconds ago, around the Collin County Courthouse, more than 24 deputies outside the courtroom alone. Outside, a crowd is gathering with chants of "Free Karmelo." That is from J.D. Miles 11 seconds ago. Again, that's a 40 seconds ago tense scene in and around Collin County Courthouse. More than 24 deputies outside the courtroom alone. Outside, a crowd is gathering with chants of "Free Karmelo." You've got to remember, this kid has been out on house arrest. Okay, if he gets convicted, which he should be taken into custody, which is going to be just, I think his family is the people that are just going to go over the top on that. Meanwhile, Austin Metcalf is dead. Okay, the verdict should have been read. Still not the update yet. I have a feeling it's going to be manslaughter. Still nothing yet. I'm checking other sources too, and there's still no verdict yet, so just stay right here. I'm refreshing every second. I can't see the chat because I'm on 2 different screens refreshing stuff. Again, J.D. Miles' last tweet so far, 2 minutes ago, tense scene in and around Collin County Courthouse. More than 24 deputies outside the courtroom alone. Outside, a crowd is gathering with chants of "Free Karmelo." refresh it again because we were at 3:08, 3 minutes after the verdict was supposed to be read. What is going on? J.D. Miles, what's going on? What happened to his... Okay. Wow, that was weird. Still no verdict is announced from him yet. 1 minute ago, he posted a video, tense scene. And he posted a video in and around the Collin County Courthouse. More than 24 deputies outside the courtroom alone. Outside, a crowd is gathering with chants of free Karmelo. Okay, let's see if he says anything else in these comments here. Still nothing from him yet. I wonder if they're having any craziness in the courtroom before. There is some craziness outside for sure. There are Texas Rangers, it appears, outside the courthouse in front of the steps. There are people walking back and forth in front of them, screaming things, and just nutty stuff going on. But don't see a verdict yet. I think it would get out right away, right? Unless he has told everybody they're not allowed to tweet it out. I don't know. Maybe there's been... Now we are 6 minutes over, and J.D. Miles, a reporter that is in from CBS 11 News, in the courtroom, and I do not see a verdict. I see Texas Rangers telling people to calm it down. I'm right on these screens, that's why I can't see your chat. I'm on a couple of different screens. It's still his last video from 4 minutes ago, tense scene. Still nothing. I am refreshing it like every 30 seconds, probably every 15 seconds. Still nothing. Crazy. I'm getting so... I can't imagine the family. Still, 5 minutes ago, same tweet. Come on. Nope, still. Oh my gosh, it's still the same. I am freaking. It's getting, I don't even know what kind of pandemonium is going to happen out there. Oh my gosh, just tell us what the freaking verdict is. Ten minutes past now the time that it was going to be read. Come on. I'm thinking maybe the judge told them they're not allowed to tweet it out because they want to control the crowd. I don't know. I mean, control it for how long? Okay, we have 11 minutes past the time it was supposed to be read. Okay, now something's happening to this guy's Twitter. I wonder if Twitter's just going crazy. I think something's like... Hold on, but I'm watching a couple of different things. Something went wrong. Retry. Okay. Come on. Yeah, it's buffering in a lot of places. Okay, no, now we're still back. No update yet. Come on, come on. Okay, there were a line of Texas Rangers and police out in front of the courthouse. But I do not see an update yet. literally refreshing this like every 10 seconds. So now we are 14 minutes past the time from a judge that is supposed to be so punctual. He yelled at the prosecution for getting back 2 minutes late to a after a break. What does it say? What did he put up there? What did he put up there? Karmelo Anthony, what is he putting up there? Hold on, somebody's just being a jerk. He already had a sign made that something like Karmelo Anthony is acquitted of murder or something, which is ridiculous because he already had it made. And he was holding it up or something. I don't know what he was doing. JD Miles is still not posted an update. And we are 15 minutes past the reading of the verdict. Come on. Oh my gosh, this is making me so much anxiety. I can't even imagine the poor family. Oh gosh. Still the same. I'm thinking the judge didn't told them to put your electronics down. You're not going to do this. You're not going to put this verdict out there until I'm ready for this verdict to be out there. I don't know. I'm just thinking. So why would there be no verdict after 16 minutes now? Unless there was an issue inside, people were unruly, bailiffs had to take people out. I don't know what the heck is going on. Because there's still no verdict yet that's been released. Oh, brother, let me see if there's anything here. Come on. Oh my goodness, this is nerve-wracking. Still, nothing new. I'm following, keep refreshing. J.D. Miles, who's in the courtroom, said he was going to put the verdict right out there. I'm wondering if the judge told them not to do that. Last tweet, whatever you call it now, update. Tense scene in and around Collin County Courthouse. More than 24 deputies outside the courtroom alone. Outside, a crowd is gathering with chants of Free Karmelo. Just refreshed it again, and still nothing. Come on. Nothing yet. Same thing. Let me look at some of the comments under here to see. Are you not permitted in the courtroom during the reading of the verdict? Someone said. Oh, come on. Oh my gosh, what the freak. People are putting all kinds of fake stuff up on Twitter, like about a verdict. It's so crazy why that people just keep doing this crap. Okay, wait a second. Hold on. No, we don't have anything new yet. Apparently it's getting really scary out there. Come on. Come on. This is getting really. I'm sorry. I'm not trying to be silent on purpose. I'm just checking so many different devices that we don't miss anything. Still the same thing. 20 minutes ago is the last tweet from JD Miles. 23 minutes past when they were supposed to read this. Hold on, I'm going to get another device. About 5 screens open here. Hang on a minute. Just because I want to see something over here. This is so crazy. Come on, where are we? Come on. This is so nuts. Still nothing. Still nothing. Okay, hang on. Oh boy. This is so intense here. Verdict reached in Karmelo Anthony murder. State police are now here and people rushing into the courtroom. Pray for justice. That was 39 minutes ago. 33 minutes ago, breaking Karmelo Anthony's supporters rush up to the Collin County Courthouse screaming at Metcalf supporters, demanding Karmelo be freed. Dozens of cops are pushing back Karmelo supporters as we await the verdict to be read. Let's see, this person doesn't, I think the judge stopped their tweeting because this is another person and they have not had any. They have found him guilty of murder. Yes. It's guilty of murder. Oh my goodness. He's found guilty of murder. A Collin County jury has found Karmelo Anthony guilty of murder in the death of Austin Metcalf. Guilty of murder, not manslaughter, murder. He's been found guilty of murder. Oh, wow. Okay. "44 seconds ago, that tweet came in. He has been found guilty of murder. Someone said everyone with a fully developed brain knew Karmelo Anthony was guilty. Now let's see if he thinks he's still as tough as he thought he was. Boy. Oh, that was tense. All right, let me see what you guys are saying. Let's see, both sets of parents just gone back. He's been found guilty of murder. Guilty of murder. That's right, Anne. The jury did it right. The jury did what was right. They looked at the facts and they did what was right, and they didn't let race or anything else influence them. It doesn't bring Austin back. It's you know. Okay, let's see now. Let me see if I can find anything else from what's going on with the crowd outside, right? Now that they're Karmelo Anthony has been found guilty of murder. Justice has been served. Karmelo supporters are absolutely losing it in the parking lot. Pray for Texas tonight is the tweet of Nick Sortor. Let me see what's... Now Karmelo's supporters start berating deputies who are making a line to protect the courthouse, saying, y'all gonna burn in hell. What the F you over here? You need to be ashamed. You need to be ashamed because that's one of y'all that was in there. Someone has a sign, Austin, say his name, Austin Metcalf.
You need to be ashamed. You need to be ashamed. Because that's one of y'all that was in there.
See, this is so beyond.
You're not going to give a fuck till it's at your front door.
This is crazy. So there's a woman screaming at what appears to be black officers, saying, you should all be ashamed. It's a sin. It's one of y'all in there. See, that's what I mean. Are we going by facts and what's right, or we're just excusing everything based on skin color? This is insane. This is not supposed to be a case that they're using race to decide to let somebody off with murdering another person. It's insane. They've made this out to be a complete race case. See what's happening here. Dozens of cops are pushing back Karmelo's supporters.
You're not gonna give a fuck till it's at your front door. And That's a sad part. We heard. And you ought to be ashamed of yourself.
This is crazy.
You're not going to approach a woman like that. Hold up! Hold up! Hold up! You only got in a woman's place, but when a man walked up, what did you do?
That's the crazy part.
Hold on, I'm going to see what else is going on outside the courthouses. The courthouse. Sorry, because I'm on a bunch of different screens here trying to figure out what's going on out there, because that looks like complete chaos. Okay, let's see. Someone said they are immediately going into sentencing phase in the Karmelo Anthony murder trial. Karmelo was found guilty of first-degree murder a few moments ago. The decision hasn't been made if the judge or jury will do the sentencing. So they're going to go immediately into sentencing. Wow, so so do they have their victims' impact statements all done? Okay, I'm just trying to catch up with stuff here. Okay, there's a lot. This is probably going to be. Let me see. Where's my other guy that I had here? Those people protesting should be ashamed. Lock them up for being stupid. Hi, Barbara. Let me see here what's going. Let me go back to JD. See what JD is doing. Okay. They were going to go straight into sentencing. Okay, listen to this now. Karmelo Anthony breaks down in tears. You can hear inside the courtroom. His bond has been extinguished. He is in the custody of the Collin County Sheriff. This kid has been out of jail. He has been out on bond at his home, living a probably, comfortable lifestyle. I'm sure he got whatever he wanted. And now reality's setting in. You're not going home. You're going into the jail, and then you're going to go to prison. And what we need to remember is for over a year, he's lived that way when Austin's life was cut short that April day in 2025, right? His parents will still be able to call him. His parents will still be able to visit him. Austin's parents don't have that. Is that the first time he's shown any tears? Did he show any tears for Austin's life? Someone said, I get that he's a kid, even today, but actions have consequences. Do I think he woke up that day expecting this to happen? No. Day went terribly wrong, and he made an instant reaction that will forever haunt him. If his defense did zero to prep him for this outcome, shame on them. Someone said he should be crying. I don't feel bad. Who brings a knife to a track meet? Nobody. Someone said, praying for both families. Today is a sad, sad day. One young man is dead, and the other one's life has just been torn apart by his bad choices. Someone said it's really sad if Karmelo Anthony had an opportunity to take a plea deal early on because before this went to trial. His parents may have, instead of helping their child take the best option for his life, milked this for all it's worth with the bogus fundraising. The Metcalf family is getting the justice they deserve. Rest in peace, Austin. This was the correct verdict, but it brings me no joy. A young man with a promising future is dead, and another young man who had a bright future is going to jail. So incredibly sad. And that is true. That is absolutely true. Okay? You have two young men that one is dead, the other's going to prison. It should have never happened. It happened because of Karmelo Anthony's choices. Okay, but could have been very different, right? Let me see what's happening here. Let me check on this. Okay. So here we go with this now. I'm going to go back a little bit. A Collin County jury found Karmelo Anthony guilty of murder in the fatal stabbing of 17-year-old Austin Metcalf during the Frisco ISD track meet, bringing an end to a closely watched trial that drew national attention and sparked debate over self-defense, race, and school safety. Before the judge and the jury entered the courtroom, Karmelo Anthony's attorney, Mike Howard, had his arm around Karmelo Anthony, who looked tense. Howard appeared to be comforting his client. Austin Metcalf's parents were pulled aside and reminded not to show any public emotion when the verdict was announced. Friends of Austin Metcalf were in the courtroom, as well as his twin brother, Hunter, for the first time. Hunter Metcalf had not been allowed in the courtroom as he was on the witness list. He did not testify, however. The jury did not look at Karmelo Anthony as they walked into the courtroom. Sentencing could begin... where was I? Hold on a minute. Just happened here. Sentencing could begin right away since the jury came back so quickly. Karmelo Anthony broke down in tears, which could be heard inside the courtroom after the guilty verdict was read. His parents walked out. Now, his parents walked out. Why? Because they couldn't contain themselves? Do you think they would, or they went out to go, I don't know. Judge Roach told Karmelo Anthony that his bond has been extinguished. He is remanded into the custody of the Collin County Sheriff's Office. The courtroom remains silent. Everyone remained seated except for Karmelo Anthony's parents, who left the courtroom, and the defendant, who was whisked away by sheriff's deputies. Oh, I guess maybe they left right after their son was whisked away. Hang on, I'm going to live updates, okay? So the latest live update is 9 minutes ago on that. And let me just... There is shouting and everything outside the courtroom. But let's see what's going on out here. Here come the riots, says someone. Breaking, verdict is in. Okay. This is not. Let's see here. I'm just checking a bunch of different sources here for some. Okay. Okay, listen to this one. Karmelo Anthony supporters say they are prepared to burn everything down if they do not get the verdict they want. That was posted on Twitter by someone named Upside Down World. Don't know if that is true or not, or someone just starting a bunch of drama. I have no idea. Okay. Karmelo Anthony was found guilty of first-degree murder. They are going to do the sentencing immediately since the jury came back so fast. Karmelo Anthony sobs as he is found guilty of murder of Austin Metcalf. Someone said this is effing insane. Not everything is about race. Karmelo Anthony committed murder. He told Austin what he would do if he touched him again, meaning that Karmelo had every intention of stabbing Austin. And if you have intent to stab, you have intent to kill. Let's see here. The sentence will be handed down by the jury today. Trial has gone straight into sentencing. Karmelo Anthony's mother is taking the stand now as the sentencing phase of his murder trial begins. Prosecution and defense waived opening statements. So Karmelo Anthony's mother is on the stand now. Okay. All right, let's see about if anybody's going to talk about what his mother is saying on the stand. Okay. Let's try to see if they'll tweet out whatever she's saying. I know that in the past she said what a good boy he is, and of course, you know, I mean, fights are breaking out and police are making swift arrests. Okay, keep arresting. People are swiftly trying to quell and violence and unrest. Okay, so there's nuts. I told you this is going to be crazy. Let's see what this is. Can't even hear what they're saying out there. Now, Black Panthers are attempting to launch a race war outside the Collin County Courthouse after Karmelo Anthony was found guilty. We've got to tell our kids the truth that this, oh gosh, this is, nobody wants to hear this. What is going on?
This is a racist ass country. We're in a racist ass state. This is a racist ass court. Ain't nothing else to talk about.
How is this
When
racist?
A white boy been before an all-black jury. Tell us, media. Tell us, white folks. When has a white boy been before an all-black jury? Never.
How's it murder?
This is racist. You know why?
Is he okay?
Because you know what? Whatever the verdict is, he got justice. Because he got to go before a jury of 6 or 12 instead of being buried by 6. We got to stand up. We gonna keep, that's right. You know what? Let this be all in the same. Exactly. Come on, sister. Come on, sister. She right. This is a war. This is a war. This is a war. And it's been going on.
This is crazy.
This war been going on. They never stop being racist.
They're racist because they looked at the facts, heard the testimony, and rendered a just verdict according to the jury instructions. But now they're racist. Somebody said somebody is, I don't know if this is true. Oh, that's another time. I'm sorry. Hold on a second. Hold on. Let's see. Someone said facts don't matter to anyone who supported Karmelo Anthony. If you followed this trial and came away convinced that Karmelo is not guilty, you're either so, and it's a derogatory word, that you should be institutionalized, or you're just happy that a white guy was killed and you don't care about the facts. In either case, you have no credibility on the issue or any other issue from now on. That's somebody on Twitter. Matt Walsh. Let's see. Oh my gosh, this is scary over here. So it said, if you're mad that Karmelo Anthony was found guilty, would you be mad if the roles were reversed? Yes, Karmelo Anthony, found guilty of murder in the fatal stabbing of Frisco student Austin Metcalf. See. Okay, I want to see what's going on in the courtroom though. Let's see if that JD is talking about what she's saying on the stand. Let's see. Back here. All right. Punishment phase ended abruptly after one witness, Karmelo Anthony's mother. Both sides rested after waiving opening statements. Anthony's mother said, and this J.D. Miles is quoting her, "He's my oldest. He's my firstborn. He will always be my baby. I love him very much." And the defense said, does your son regret what he did? Karmelo Anthony's mother said, yes, he's very sorry for what he did. Punishment phase just ended after one witness, 2 questions from the defense, and 1 from the prosecution. The judge will work on a charge. Let me see here. That was 3 minutes ago. I'm going to go to the live thing over here. Hang on. Prosecution and defense both waived opening statements for the sentencing phase. The prosecution rested and the defense called Kayla Hayes, Karmelo Anthony's mother. He's my oldest. He's my firstborn. He will always be my baby. I love him very much. Defense, does your son regret what he did? She says, yes, he's very sorry for what he did. The punishment phase of the trial ended after just one witness. That is so bizarre, right? You think they would have put up all these people that would say what he could do and, you know. Okay, so prior to that, it said after a short break, the jury is returning to the courtroom for the sentencing phase, which could be 5 to 99 years. This will be like a new trial, but with the same judge. the jury, and the players. There could be opening and closing statements. Well, they just waived the opening, unless they're waived. The prosecution and the defense will present witnesses. Well, they only presented one, and they both rested. But these witnesses will include the defendant's background and character. I'm surprised they didn't do that. The prosecution and defense waived opening statements. Prosecution has rested, and the defense has called Kayla Hayes, Anthony's mother. Okay, and then that was it. Wow, that was fast. So now, his sentence could be 5 to 99 years. Let's see. Let me go back to the chat for 1 minute. Okay. You wonder what the sentence will be? Yeah, me too. Bye, Anne. It was nice chatting with you. Okay, so we have to wait and see here. All right, hold on. We'll just hang on until we see if this is
in this Texas
do. I got 5 boys. I don't know what. I ain't got nothing to tell them no more. You can't walk away no more.
Rest in peace, Trayvon Martin.
Let me ask you this right now. I hear.
What do you want us to do? What do you want us to do at this point? What? I'm lost for it. I don't know what to do. I got 5 boys. I don't know what. I ain't got nothing to tell them no more. You can't walk away no more.
Rest in peace, Trayvon Martin.
Let me ask you this.
What happened? Can you hear me? Oh my goodness, you're not able to hear me? Oh, come on. Huh. Oh no. For how long was I not heard? Wow, what happened? Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. We've got to look out after... What? Well, I guess they didn't hear me for I don't know how long. I'm going back now and... Gosh, this is scary over here. I wonder how long... The sound came back briefly. I am here, Jet Set. Yeah, you hear me now, Scooter, but nobody heard. They're saying nobody heard me. Oh my gosh. What the heck? Oh, I can't believe that. After Karmelo Anthony was found guilty, we've got to tell our kids the truth that this... Oh gosh, this is... No, what is going on? You hear me now, but... Did. How long didn't you hear me? For like, it looks like 15 minutes at least. Oh man. Now I don't even know where the heck we were. I went over a lot of stuff. Oh, that pisses me off. Okay. I just went over something about the twin grief and, oh my gosh. What? Why can't I can't even hear now. Wait a second, something's wrong. I can't even hear now. Uh-oh. Grief and, let me see now. Yeah, there's nothing there. That is so weird. What happened? They're carrying on about the verdict? What do you mean they're carrying on about the verdict? They don't think the verdict is just? Oh gosh, this is... They don't think the verdict... Oh man. What do you mean, Scooter? They don't think the verdict was just? How the host and the lawyers are carrying on about the verdict. What do you mean? That's the right verdict. Wait a second, you guys. One lawyer called the judge stupid on court TV? Why? What verdict did they want? Well, I want to tell you that, listen, somebody, we're saying Karmelo Anthony case has nothing to do with race. It was an open and shut case of murder. No way to justify Karmelo being in danger or of imminent death from a light shove. Yeah, and them trying to I insert Trayvon Martin and stuff and all that into it doesn't even compare. Okay. Is people making it about race, and what are they saying, that if just because of your certain color you should be able to murder someone and get away with it? Like, really? I went over so much stuff when we were not broadcasting, but anyway, Apparently, police are there arresting people. Karmelo Anthony was crying when he got the verdict. He was remanded into custody. Let's see. The mother took the stand. She said very briefly that she loves her son. He'll always be her baby. They asked her if he felt any remorse. She said, yes, he's very sorry. That was it. They ended their witnesses with her, and now apparently it's the jury that's going to decide the sentence. And there was a thing about what poor Hunter is going to go through, that with, not poor Hunter has to deal with as, just the trauma of having his twin die in his arms, and some of the stuff that he could have to go through, that it could lead to just being so horrific for the poor kid, just with the survivor's guilt and the PTSD and the, Hunter himself said, I saw Austin's soul leave his body and he took mine with it. Okay? Just feeling like that other half of you is gone, because a lot of twins think of themselves as two pieces of a whole. And it was very poignant. And I read that, but let's see. Just people just supporting Karmelo Anthony because of the color of his skin. And then that Dominique, that guy that they hired that did that fundraising for them, saying all this crap already. I mean, it's nuts. Let's see. And I'm going to go to the live update and just go through that again, because I don't know how much you guys heard or you didn't hear. Please tell me about Court TV. I don't understand it. Are you saying there and don't think this is just, and they should get off the air? Seriously. Because this is to the letter, the judge's instructions. Are they saying the judge wrote the wrong instructions? Is that what they're saying? What the heck is going on? Okay, so the live updates, I'm just going to go over them. The Frisco ISD released a statement, okay, after Karmelo Anthony was found guilty in the track meet stabbing. They said, our community has carried the weight of this tragedy for more than a year, and our thoughts remain with the impacted families, friends, and classmates. We respect the judicial process and will continue to support our students with compassion and care. We know this trial has brought strong emotions and deep grief, and we ask that our community continue to support each other with respect, sensitivity, and understanding. Okay, and then Karmelo Anthony's mother took the stand. The prosecution and the defense both waived opening statements for the sentencing phase. The prosecution rested, and the defense called Kayla Hayes, Karmelo Anthony's mother, to the stand, and she said, and I quote, he's my oldest, he's my firstborn, he will always be my baby, I love him very much. The defense says, does your son regret what he did? She said, yes, he's very sorry for what he did. The punishment phase of the trial ended after just one witness. Okay, so after a short break from the verdict, the jury is returning to the courtroom for the sentencing phase, and his sentence could be 5 to 99 years. It'll be like a new trial, but with the same judge, jury, and players. There could be opening and closing statements. Well, there weren't. Okay, there was only one witness. Both sides rested. Now, that's it. It's up to the jury to decide the sentence. Let me see if there's any other. I really wanted you to hear that thing on the grief. His twin brother accepted his brother Austin's diploma. Austin Metcalf was fatally stabbed. We know that, but let me see here. I'm trying to get to this. His brother accepted his diploma at the graduation ceremony, which came before this verdict. Okay, now let me just see if I can get to... Okay. Trying to find what I had before, but it's just not going to give it to me. It says that the mother of Karmelo Anthony went live, crashing out in tears after he was found guilty for the murder of 17-year-old Austin Metcalf. The jury was full of racist white people. I'm suing all of... I don't know if this is true or not. This. You never know. That doesn't look like his mother. I have no idea if that's true or not. This is what I hate about this AI crap. That just came out 13 seconds ago. I don't think it's true. It doesn't look like her. I think it's crap. Okay, so why do they do stuff like that? I don't know. Let's see. Bless you. They're doing the most horrible things. They're putting Austin's picture with horrible words and treating the other kid like he's a civil rights leader. Oh, Jimmy, you don't even know what's going on. What? They found him guilty of murder in the first degree, and the people are going crazy. And just because of the color of his skin, he should be innocent. Okay, it's totally wrong. And Dominic Alexander reacted after Karmelo Anthony convicted of murder, says that black lives do not matter in Collin County. You know what, Mr. Alexander? No, you're wrong, okay? Your client, or whatever you want to call him, murdered someone. It's not a race matter. It's a right and wrong matter. He murdered someone, okay? Lives do matter, and that's why he was convicted. This is crazy. What the hell is happening? This is so bad. It is so bad. So in his view, black lives only matter, someone said. If they're allowed to publicly slaughter people, they're allowed to publicly slaughter people. This is crazy. Oh my gosh, this is nuts. And then somebody said, what is he saying? Black lives are not safe in Collin County. Whose life was taken away? It was a white kid taken away by his, I don't know what he is, the client. They hired that guy, remember, to do the fundraiser and stuff for them. It's terrible. He's mad now because he lost. Don't bring a knife to a track meet, right? Yeah, also, don't, for a push, come back with a stab. This is crazy. This is not about race. Wow. That's bad, but I wanted to tell you about what they said about his brother. You can't stab anyone because they pushed you. Schools and school events would end. Do some thinking. If kids stab each other when pushed and it's okay, would you send your child to a school or a school function? The kid was asked to leave. You can't sit in someone else's area. A white kid was murdered and somehow they spun it to Black Lives Don't Matter. This is crazy. The guy is a race-baiting piece of something, they said. You'll notice how many times he mentioned his organization. Okay, and there was something really about the grief an identical twin goes through. And I did read it when we didn't have voice. That was, and now of course I don't know what happened to it, but it was very profound. All right, let me see what you're saying about court TV, though, Scooter, because that is really, that doesn't even make sense. Why did they call the judge stupid? Hold on, because I'm coming back to the chat. You will need to go back and rewind to when the verdict comes in and listen to court TV and how disgusting they were in order to believe it. Why? Is it people that normally commentate, Scooter? Like people that, like was Vinnie Politan on there and stuff? Yeah, they should be non-biased. They should care about the law. That's what they should care about, the law. And when we read those jury instructions, you saw the right choice. If you believe the facts and the testimony, the right choice is what the jury came back with. That's crazy. They're probably going to take it down or something because if they did something. That's crazy. Let me see if there's any news on this sentencing. Maybe they're just going to do like 15 to life or something. Who knows what? But it's the jury, so they'll probably come back with. Let's see. I'm surprised. What about the victims' impact statements and everything? Okay, let's see. Prosecutors called 21 witnesses before they rested their case, focusing on testimony and evidence they said showed Anthony was not acting in self-defense when he stabbed Austin Metcalf. Now, the medical examiner said that the injury was a large gaping wound that was not survivable. And they showed autopsy photos, which I heard Karmelo would not look at. He looked down at the floor or something. Let's see here. Trying to get the... latest on this is live updates from the courtroom. Okay. Why is this? Okay. Karmelo Anthony guilty of murder. We know that. And where's my live updates? Let me go back on Twitter. I don't know what, I can't imagine Court TV doing anything like that. I mean, that's really not okay. You should be concerned with the law. Somebody said, what the F are you talking about? Karmelo Anthony is a murderer. What does it take for you to shut the F up? When will you be satisfied? When you can murder white kids at your leisure and expect to walk away scot-free? This is what I mean. This should never be about race. And it's been made totally about it. And
it's self-defense. It's self-defense.
Self-defense.
You put your hand on me and see how I respond.
Beat your motherfucking name. What will the Anthony family?
What will the Anthony family? What will the people that stand behind the Anthony family do? That's the question you should ask. We're going to stand behind them and we're going to fight. That's what's going to happen.
What is your relationship with him?
I have no relationship. We black. We're brothers. We're black. We're brothers and sisters. We're blacks. We're the indigenous people of this earth.
Ain't nobody out here getting young bitch. We black.
It's a repeat. Black people, black sisters and brothers, black kings and queens, we gotta stick together. This makes no goddamn sense. That young boy, he was defending his goddamn self.
he was defending himself. Okay. And they've got to stick together. All right. Someone said it wasn't racism and it wasn't self-defense. With 20 plus witnesses, boys and girls, black and white, they're all saying the same things. Karmelo was the aggressor. He was asked to leave 15 plus times. He escalated matters and is accountable for murder. Karmelo Anthony threatened him with a knife. Austin Metcalf defended himself. Just poorly, it says. But he didn't even get to defend himself. Are you kidding? He didn't even get to defend himself. He had no defensive wounds. He was just ambushed with that knife, and then it was such a horrible wound that he died almost instantly. He didn't even get a chance to defend himself. And somebody said Dominique Alexander, after the guilty verdict of Karmelo Anthony, says that black lives are not safe and black lives do not matter in Collin County, Texas. Are you kidding? And then they said that according to Anthony, white lives didn't matter. Don't get it twisted. Justice was served. Karmelo Anthony case has countless people denying reality. Some lady was saying, what do I tell my 5 boys? What do I tell my 5 boys? Somebody said, how about you don't murder? Okay? She says that you can't walk away. Why can't you walk away?
What do you want us to do? What do you want us to do at this point? What? I'm lost for words. I don't know what to do. I got 5 boys. I don't know what. I ain't got nothing to tell them no more. You can't walk away no more.
Rest in peace, Trayvon Martin.
Let me ask you this right now. I hear.
What do you want us to do?
You can't tell them to walk away. Okay. So what are you going to tell them? Bring a knife to a track meet and kill someone? What are you going to tell them? What the? I'm sorry. You know what? It's a good thing. It's a really good thing. I don't think I could stand to be there. This is insanity. Someone said Karmelo Anthony is officially a convicted murderer. Nothing can bring Austin Metcalf back. And for that, he can sit in a 9x12 cell and rot. He had plenty of options to remove himself from the situation, and he chose not to. Hashtag justice served. There's still people in here writing the most horrible things on the murdered 17-year-olds. It's, oh my gosh, it's so bad. Someone said Karmelo Anthony was found guilty of the murder of Austin Metcalf. This is a great day to see justice being done. Of course, the coming weeks will show how Karmelo's defenders still try to explain that he is a national hero or some other equally fuzzy nonsense. Someone said, thank God there was justice for Austin Metcalf. We don't say the victim's name enough. I hope the family can finally get some peace. They will be in my prayers. Karmelo Anthony broke down in tears after the verdict was read, crying and shaking as his defense attorney comforted him. Anthony could now face up to life in prison. During the sentencing phase, Anthony's mother pleaded with the jury for mercy, describing him as her firstborn son and expressing her deep love for him through tears. Prosecutors cross-examined her by asking whether she could still maintain a relationship with her son if he was behind bars, unlike the Metcalf family. The same jury will now decide how long Karmelo Anthony will remain in prison. Karmelo Anthony started the conflict. Let's see here. How can anyone even consider Karmelo Anthony being not guilty of something? This was not a self-defense case, and frankly, that's offensive in my opinion. I'm watching foolishness here. So we're awaiting the jury's decision on sentencing. In other words, that's what we're waiting for. Fights are breaking out. Police are making swift arrests after Karmelo Anthony supporters rage at the guilty murder verdict in the trial of Austin Metcalf. Oh, that was the other thing they said. They said that Karmelo Anthony made the choice and it destroyed 2 families. He just didn't know one of the families would be his own. Okay, let me go back to that. All right. Okay, so let's see here. Those people have mental problems. You can't stab someone for pushing you and think you can get away with it. So it's ludicrous. Hi, Nora Woods. Yeah, it's just nuts. I don't know how long they're going to stay with the sentencing, but I think I'll let you guys go, and then I want to go for a walk or something to get myself out of here, and then I will, at the very least, I'll be back tonight to talk about everything else. But thanks for staying with me. Thanks for staying with me through the no voice. I didn't know that there was no voice for that period of time. I apologize. Thank you guys, and I'll see you later. Be good. Stay well. Stay safe.